whatsoever. Galio banned out on the opposite side. Vedius, there's nothing special here yet. Maybe we can bring it up once there is something special. But let's talk about what we saw last game and what we expect to change now.
Yes, so what we did see is that the top side of the map for H2K was much stronger than that of the overall. And the bottom side of the map for UOL was performing extremely well. When they got that Xayah and Rakan, they were actually doing a lot of great things. And I feel like that the draft itself was not bad, but Exile got camped so hard. It was super difficult for him to really do anything aside from just farm. And even then, it was just super easy to just constantly dive underneath his tower. So I feel bad for Exile because I've been in that position before where you have these two super tanks literally diving in your face all the time. So hopefully coming into game 2, he can have a bit of a healthier game, especially with two big tanks taken off the board already.
And we'll see, do H2K want to continue to put that focus into the mid lane? Lucian has now been taken away, maybe not as crucial to snowball the mid lane as it was in the last game. Similarly, Kennen banned off the table. 3 top lane bans now taken away. We assume the Kennen a top lane ban. Very rare that anyone picks it up as AD carry outside of Reckless.
And again, Xayah, Rakan, both available. Now the thing is, if you're the Unicorns of Love, you could go for the first pick Xayah. But then H2K can get themselves the Kalista Rakan combo, which we saw from Roccat works out in a very similar fashion. But they've just said, you know what, we don't care. We have an answer to that combo, and our priority is going to be on the Shen top lane. So Chachi this time, it'd be hilarious if Odo picks Gangplank. I'm just saying, it would be really funny. But he's going to have so much more global impact this time around. He's going to be able to facilitate his team and trying to make plays happen.
However, this is the risky part about picking up the Shen, is you've now given up the Syndra, which remain unbanned. You've now given him the Thresh, yet another power pick. But because H2K has opted for this, it means that Xayah and Rakan are once again open for Unicorns of Love. But it does mean if they pick it here that it's pretty easy for H2K to just select a Twitch, to select another champion to mitigate the impact of the Unicorns of Love lineup.
Now, earlier in the day, we did see the Xayah paired up with, or rather not a Xayah, we saw a Zyra and a Varus being used as an answer to deal with Mysterious Monkeys when they drafted themselves the Twitch and the Thresh. Makes Thresh's life very difficult. They can't roam around the map very much. Their lane presence is severely mitigated by the plants getting in the way. And the Unicorns are saying, you know what, we don't care about that. We feel so confidently in our Xayah and Rakan bottom lane that we're just going to play it into whatever you pick with Thresh.
And we'll see, you know, results-based analysis. If it'll be the right choice to have confidence in your players if the players are able to perform in the end. But Shibi clearly keeping faith in the guys, giving them the same bottom lane, mixing things a bit up on the top side of the map, but H2K now getting the Gragas for themselves, can still be a flex pick, top lane or jungle. Not wanting to give away everything here, but now entering the second ban phase, H2K will have the luxury of last pick.
Now, the big thing we have to highlight is that Elise and Lee Sin, two of the most contested junglers worldwide, have not been paid any attention to in the first half of the draft. And that is a big thing, and it's also a big message to how these junglers like to play. Typically, from Jankos, the former First Blood King, he was known for playing these early style junglers that are all about ganking and snowballing lanes, and right now the priority has not been on the jungle whatsoever. And exactly the same for the Unicorns of Love. Xerxes, he is that farm style jungler, and he's still being target banned. Elise is still open, and H2K going, we don't think you play it, so we're going to ban away Ivern because we know that you're better at that champion.
And I mean, we've seen Unicorns of Love be so successful when they build a composition around protecting Samix, around protecting Exile, 2 damage threats, the rest of the team built around protecting those major players on this lineup. So H2K say, we don't want to deal with that, even if we have to give up something that is considered very widely powerful. But Unicorns of Love striking back with bans of their own. They take the Twitch off the board, they take the Lee Sin away, and that's going to put Jankos on the Elise.
It has to be. Surely an Elise is going to be on the card for H2K. It's way too strong. It'll pair up so nicely with the things that they've already got with the Syndra, the Thresh. You're looking at a fantastic pick composition that has a lot of early game power, and H2K have already demonstrated that they know how to play the early game.
Interesting. In the end, though, it's going to be the Kha'Zix. Means the Gragas going into the top side of the map as predicted, but the jungle pick a little bit different here. Have to see what the logic is here for H2K. And Vedius, there's no room for spiders here, all right? Different bug. now we got a dog, all right?
Yep.
Things mixed up here in the jungle pool. Warwick locked in, as well as the Talia for Exile. Completely different composition for the Unicorns of Love outside of the Xayah and Rakan. Top side of the map, we said, hey, this is looking like a weak point, and they mix it up completely in the draft phase. H2K also get the Kalista Thresh. And this feels like the two most iconic bot lane duos in League of Legends going toe-to-toe.
You have like the Hunter and the Reaper versus the Lovers duo. Like that is super cool. Really excited for the bottom lane matchup. Last time it was Samux and Hylissang that had the edge. They were the ones winning that 2v2, but this time perhaps things could change. Still very much based on pick composition, 1-3-1. You can actually very comfortably send Kalista off to a side lane because of how strong she is in that dueling setup. But Unicorns of Love, they're playing a similar style. You can send Talia off onto a side lane and Shen to do the same. And this is great because game one, we saw two teams building teamfight compositions, and it was H2K that have said, we play teamfighting better than you. And sure, you get a big lead. They found the proper setups. They were able to put themselves into better positions when it came into fights. Now they're playing a 1-3-1, and they're matching exactly what Unicorns of Love are doing once again. Now we get to see, again, two teams playing the same style and who can execute it better.
We will have to see. Well, let us know where your faith lies. Hashtag UOL win if you believe in Sheepy, if you believe in the Unicorns of Love and the consistent Xayah-Rakan duo. Maybe you're a fan of the Kalista and the Thresh. Maybe you're a fan of 2 zeros for H2K. That's the hashtag H2K win. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't even need a game two. It's fans versus fans here at the EU LCS. Unicorns of Love gearing up for a stampede here in game two. But H2K already dominated the competition in game one. Let's see what's going to happen here. Game two. H2K on the red side, Unicorns of Love on the blue. Fans whipped into a frenzy, their bloodlust. Unquenchable, Vedius. But is this going to be a bloody game? Is this going to be a high-action game, or are we going to wait? Are we going to wait for that level 6? Are we going to wait?
We are definitely waiting.
All right.
100%. Warwick can't really do anything before 6. And Kha'Zix, sure, Kha'Zix can definitely set up ganks. He has a fair amount of damage in the early game, but a lot of junglers often prefer to be that level 6 mark because then you get the evolution, you get the stealth, and being able to set up for those ganks is a lot easier. But the more important thing is, where can these junglers gank? Because when you look across the board, H2K have a lot of options. You have a Gragas top lane, that's a huge amount of CC. Jankos has the damage. Febiven has the stun, and there's no cleanse on Exile. In the bottom lane, you have the classic Kalista Thresh, one of the greatest engages in the game. Like, I love that setup. And Jankos has so many options.
I mean, but you can't forget the new hotness, Vedius. I mean, we talk about greatest engage in the game. Let's talk about Xayah and Rakan. You got a Warwick, and yes, he does struggle to get on top of a target, but you got a nice Birdman setting you up.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to get a fight started.
I completely agree with you. How easy is it to hit a Warwick ultimate when they're just drawn into Rakan's eyes? You know, they're too busy. There's Exile.
Oh, not where he wants to be. See what he wants to do. Threaded volley will give him a bit of movement speed on the worked ground. Sidesteps coming out. Ghost's not even going to get popped. But Febiven burns it in the end. And Exile actually comes out on top in the exchange in the end. Well played from the Talia.
Oh, this is bad.
Deadly Plumage moving forward. Thresh uses the play. It's the shield on the proc, but definitely not a positive exchange for the Unicorns of Love. Looks like Che and Nuclear getting much more comfortable in this 2v2. Play back onto Samix. Nuclear pushing forward. The Marshall poise, keeping it stuck to his target.
And you can see that the rush for level 2 is so important for both these bottom lane duos. You want the hook on Che, and you want to get the shielding on Hylissang to get you that additional bit of mobility, along with the root as well on Samux, because it gives you so much trading power. So Unicorns and H2K, they both can hit level 2 at the same time. Nothing exciting happens. I've made that way too tense.
I was ready. I was following you along. I see the Deadly Plumage. I see no snare. I see no engage. It looks like Unicorns are playing a little bit more cautiously this time around. They know engaging onto a Kalista Thresh a little different than the Lulu Twitch. A little less vulnerability in that early laning phase. And for the top side of the map, Vizichachi now on the Shen, Ottawame on the Gragas. This one looking a lot more even. The Vizichachi definitely looking for a little bit of revenge here as he does come out on top in these trades. And Ottawame already marked up by the low health. Will make it easy if Warwick wants to visit the top side, make him a little bit paranoid, but he's only on the bot.
Speaking on bot, you can see some vision investment from Jankos going for that Scuttle Crab into the ward and the Tri-Brush, along with the mini Reapers coming out from Nuclear to assist with the vision. So they're poised, so keep the push going, get that level 3 as well, and mitigate this early power that the bottom lane of Unicorns of Love demonstrated in game 1 as a hook lands.
Hillsang hooked up, Battle Dance takes him out to safety. Easy out. For now, both teams very good at starting fights, also very good at stopping them here in the early game. Really may need an outside influence, the Shen, the Gragas, something else to roam in to really make this one happen. But for now, Shen is absolutely crushing this top lane matchup in terms of trading, but no real kill pressure on the Gragas yet.
Chase mid.
Roam up, no cleanse as you called it, Vedius. That's the chain CC, leaping forward, Force of Will, waiting on another Dark Sphere, not going to connect the damage out in the end. Febiven is in trouble, Exile flashes out to safety, clean escape, Che in trouble. Minions, not enough, but Exile playing a little bit like a man possessed.
Yeah, he is able to get away. The barrier actually just gives him enough pseudo health that he's able to get away, but is this another greed play from Exile? Cersei is around.
Ward over the wall, they spot Jankos. Jankos is unconcerned. They're going to try to run him down. Jankos knows Warwick's natural enemy, the wall. Is able to walk away. So for now, things look pretty good. Nice timing coming in for Xerxes, finally giving his mid laner the protection he needs after an incredibly rough game 1. And still it looks like, Vedius, we wanted to see something different coming in for Unicorns of Love. They're getting protection mid lane, but H2K seems like they don't have any reason to change the plan. They're going to keep camping that mid lane.
Yeah. And the roam from Che was still good overall because he had both summoner spells out from Exile. Nuclear was free to just farm, and while right now he's losing a bit of pressure, overall in terms of the laning phase, things are still going well as Che will very swiftly return. And H2K, they're still pretty even, but Unicorns of Love, great to see a step up from Exile. He was camped super hard in game 1. He's feeling a little bit more confident now, especially after you make that kind of play, but it also forces you to play on the reserve as a hook lands.
Battle Dance out though, Vedius, too easy to get in and out in this exchange, but we do have to look at the gains on the side of H2K. They do get the summoner spells out of Exile, and they do now have a CS lead for Febiven. So despite Exile's tenacity, his ability to survive in those rough exchanges, still not going great for him yet. But once again, we approach the level 6 mark, the catalyst for so much playmaking in the hands of this Taliyah, the Weaver's Wall. But it's going to be pretty tough to survive without that barrier against the level 6 Thunderlord's Syndra.
And let's talk a little bit more about Febby, because there have been many that have said only Reckless can play Ken. And now you can make an argument that maybe only Febiven is allowed to play Lucian, because this guy had a fantastic game 1. Highest damage per minute in the league. Pretty phenomenal stuff.
1,027 damage per minute. 42.8% of his team's damage.
That's the average, by the way, 447. He's doing more than double in that game with a 10 KDA. Febiven really came out the gate swinging in game 1 versus UOL. Almost like he had something to prove, to demonstrate to the world that, you know what, we're tired of losing, as a stun does land.
Oh, Exile now in trouble. Oh, that's a clincher. Does walk away. Jankos nowhere nearby. In comes our resident mutant puppy to protect his friend in the end. But just gonna have to give up there in the mid lane. Such a close exchange. One starting to get aggressive in these trades using the creep wave. Spirit's Refuge comes out. Vizichachi hungry for a bit of blood here. Clearly unhappy as to how the last game went.
The power of T-Mat. Pretty good. Ooh, look at the rotation too from H2K.
Moving for a little bit more. So she's trying to start the 1v1, has a lot of damage here. Hillsang gonna go in, Jankos with a sidestep, but not going to be enough. Leaps out to safety. Yes, the Lantern's gonna save the day, and now they are absolutely not where they want to be. Looking for a little bit more. Odoamne gonna miss the cast. Vizichachi running for his life. Hillsang gonna be the sacrificial lamb. Buys a bit of time for the team, or not. Is he gonna be able to make it out? Not enough. First blood does land for Che. Exile in no place to turn this around, or is he? Weaver's Wall comes out, trying to dish it out with the threaded volley, but he cannot connect to the damage. Che running for his life. Exile's in trouble. There's the rend. Nuclear is ripping through the lineup of Unicorns of Love, and he's still hungry for more. Gonna have to back off in the end, however.
And H2K come out with another 2 kills very early on into the game. This team is so good at reading Unicorns of Love and just catching them unaware as Febby doesn't have his ulti, so he will not be able to get the kill.
I feel you. I understand that he is.
But just look at this. So Xerxes knows that he has a Rakan coming and a Shen collapsing from the top. What they do not respect is the bottom lane of H2K suddenly turning up to turn this from a 3 versus 2 into a 4 versus 3. And this is a very good flash from Chachi. He's doing his best to escape, but he realizes, you know what? I'm dead. Maybe I'll buy a little bit of time, wait for Che to come back in. If we can get this kill, at least it's a 1-for-1. And this is where Exile, his greed shows once more. He tries to get something, but he just walks into range of Odo. And the shielding on Hylissang is extremely small early levels. Usually you don't max it first, so I feel like they really disrespected H2K and just really underestimated the amount of damage and utility that H2K still had left in the tank.
And it's just such a good start once again for H2K, but the goal is still very close to even. A lot of farm given up in that exchange. And a tower still dropping for Unicorns of Love keeps them on the map. Samix able to make up the difference that his team lost on the top side. Things overall, though, look okay now for Unicorns of Love, but they can't afford to take another losing skirmish.
Yeah, agreed. Remember that they're still scaling. They want to try and play this early game as passively as possible. With Samix going for the Essence Reaver first item, you're not really looking to go for the early spike that some go with the Blade of the Ruin King. That is very much the late game 3-item kind of build. Exile as well. Talia is very much playing around the team. She's not that sort of solo carry like Syndra can be that can just one-shot the enemy carry. And you really want Xerxes to have a couple of levels and items under his belt before they really have some big impact. So you well just need to slow down. The gold is even right now. They got the early tower. But I don't think Jankos is the kind of player to allow the Unicorns of Love to really slow this game down.
Oh no, that's a Kha'Zix. He smells blood in the water. He wants to keep snowballing. He wants to keep this game moving forward. And you can see Jankos. That's a scary facial expression. But also, K plus A at 15, an aggressive player. And it looks like Unicorns of Love want to keep the fights rolling. Cersei is level 6. Fate's Call is brought out. Hylissang trying to keep the ball rolling. They're looking for a little bit more. The Fevin is just going to all right onto Hylissang. Down he goes. Unicorns of Love no better than to take a losing fight. They're going to back off. Exile knocked back to safety. And H2K take yet another exchange.
Now it was Unicorns of Love trying to get a pick onto Che. They know that he has no flash, and they feel that with Cersei there, especially being level 7, they can just catch him out and get the kill. You have Exile with the Talia wall. In your head, the setup is great, but the coordination and execution was not exactly there for Unicorns of Love. All 4 members did not collapse together, and now this might be another pick.
Cersei walking into no man's land here, going to get a bit of damage with the Warwick E. Not quite enough. The Howl, not going to fear anyone either. Exile has to run back to safety, but it's Vizichachi who's been hooked up. Now has to taunt out, and Unicorns of Love taking so many risks here.
But they stopped the Rift Herald. So Unicorns of Love, by face-checking that brush, intentionally or not, drew members of H2K towards the fight. And they do not lose any members while also preventing the Rift Herald from 4. Planned or calculated is often the appropriate term.
I feel like you've been playing too much solo queue. I think that's
way too much. And you know, when things just happen by accident, it's very much that I definitely planned this. Everyone's like, well played, good job. And I'm
oh
just
my
like,
god, I can't believe you flashed that skill shot. It's like, I accidentally just pushed flash.
I just rolled my face on the keyboard, but I'll take it.
Well, Hylissang and Samix, as we look back to the game, Hylissang really needing that level 6 before he can start engages on his terms. Che in a similar position as the 80 carries have had so much XP funneled into them by the time they've spent alone in lanes. Both of these supports always looking to roam, always looking to find aggressive plays.
Now that the 2v2 lane has been reverted, there is the possibility of that level 6 Shen play. Now, let's backtrack to what we said. In game 1, we saw 2 fantastic early game Shen ultimates from Odo, which really started snowballing the H2K early game. And so far, we're yet to see any kind of proactivity coming out from Chachi.
One of the big weaknesses of the Shen pick that we've seen in the past is if you're not setting the terms for the Shen ultimate, if you have to use it defensively, it's a pretty bad ultimate. But if you get to use it aggressively, it is game-changing.
And you want to be using it with like the Warwick, right? So you throw the ultimate on top of him, he then goes in, and you immediately have a surprise dog ninja party that is definitely a fight that can go in your favor with the amount of CC that you have. Immediate follow-up from Exile and Samix results in a very easy fight, but right now, Unicorns yet to find that kind of an opportunity.
Cersei Splinter Cells his way past the Ghost. Now looking to keep forward, the quickness comes out. He's now in trouble. The Lantern not even going to be able to grab. Nuclear can't click it. Oh, Samix and Hylissang, they don't even need the Warwick. They're going to find themselves a 2v2 kill.
This is exactly what we saw from the bottom lane of Unicorns of Love in game 1. They got themselves the 2v2 kill last time, and they're doing it once again. And before there was a giant Zac to stop them, let's see if H2K can respond.
May not need the Zac. They've got the Kha'Zix. They've got the Syndra and the Thresh. Shay and the rest of the team moving forward. Just going to clear out the wave. Just going to stop the tower from going down. But that is a nice start for Unicorns of Love. They may not have the kill.
Oh, that ain't good.
Well,
he knows that he doesn't actually have to press anything to go back with him, right? Like, yeah. Ah, well. Anyway, nobody saw that. It didn't happen.
Not every couple is perfect, Venius.
So this is great from Hylissang. He literally not only puts a ward down onto the Lantern, but also just uses his giant body to block it too.
And that's the worst. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the 2 health on the ward. That ward was auto-attacked, and I guarantee it was by a Callista. That is brutal. Febiven caught out with no mana. Threaded volley comes out. Jankos ready to back him up, but Exile looking a lot more confident in this mid lane now.
Yep. Bear in mind that Febiven did have to roam up top. A lot of his mana was used earlier on, so he couldn't really trade back against Exile. With the completed Morellonomicon, he will come back to lane feeling pretty good. Along with an Ace of Wisp as well. But now with the mid lane forced back, Unicorns of Love move back towards this Rift Herald, which is the objective that they had denied from H2K earlier.
See if they can get this one to the end. It's a slow burn down. Kha'Zix now moving up, maybe hoping to contest this. Sleeps out the ward, but probably not going to have the vision into the pit, and that means Rift Herald will fall in favor of the Unicorns of Love. It's not quite a guaranteed tower to follow up, but that can turn into a pretty significant gold lead. Given into the waiting arms of Hylissang.
Was he supposed to take? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's H2K. They're looking for a pick.
Shay throws the hook out, does go wide, looking to start the ball. The quickness comes out. Once again, we may see a Callista die immediately. Featherstorm not going to connect, but there comes the Warwick, and he's just so fast. Jankos fleeing for his life, but may not be enough because the double daggers all too easy to pick it up. Hylissang still holding on, still trying to find his way out of the fight. Gleaming Cloak going to give him a little bit of a heal, but here comes the Syndra. Here comes Exile, the Weaver's Wall. Samix not going to live in the end. Febiven did see it, but that may not be enough for Febiven to escape. Backs off, threaded volley, double kills. Mid laners trading back and forth. That is a chaotic fight.
And a 3 for 4 in favor of the Unicorns of Love. They'll get themselves another tower and extend the gold lead. This is the power of Shen when Unicorns find the fight that they want, because he joins the fray and keeps the carries alive. Unicorns, even in a 3 versus 2, feel confident enough to go for the fight because they know they have a Shen and a Warwick on the way. The problem is, look at the middle lane. Febiven starts moving so much faster up to this fight, using his Ghost to get to the fray even before Exile even throws his ulti out. So much damage is dealt to the rest of the Unicorns that make this fight slightly more reasonable for H2K. They still lose more members, they still lose an objective. But if only Exile could have gone to that fight a little sooner, that fight could have been so very different.
We see now 1K gold difference between them, not as big of a lead as H2K was able to find. But there's a Rift Herald in the pocket of Hylissang. He's ready to unleash it if he gets the chance. Xayah and Rakan are in the bottom lane. Maybe going to force some attention down there. But definitely a lead for Samix and Hylissang. Have to praise this bottom lane. They are the ones making things happen.
I'm really impressed with how Samix and Hylissang are playing. I really enjoy watching Hylissang when he plays these playmakers. We talked about it game 1. And it just, to me, feels like this is one of the perfect champions for him. It gives him so many options, gives him a huge amount of mobility, and it fits into the Unicorns' playstyle so much in their freedom to try and force fights.
Have to see if they want to force one here. Exile is the man in trouble. Jankos trying to leap into the backline. Will find the kill. Doesn't have the time to get the reset, though. Disengage comes in from Ottawamne. No more fear. Can he get the stealth up? Does not have it, but he is backing off. Samix does so much damage. Only one going to get taken down. They leap in. They want to keep the fight going. That's 2 knocked up. That's so much. Spirit's Refuge means there is no chance to fire back. Unicorns of Love dominate H2K.
And they find another big fight going in their favor, but this time, the Unicorns of Love keep 4 members alive. They're looking to take another tier 2 tower and extend the gold lead even further.
Oh, and Hylissang and Samix playing that fight like madmen. At the end of the day, H2K a little too much tunnel vision, trying to take down Exile, trying to ruin that score, and just does not work out for them.
So enjoyable to watch the Unicorns of Love play these fights. And bear in mind, Exile, he starts this fight off by taking a huge chunk of damage from Featherman. 6 orbs in the face. The Shell Ultimate, it can't come through because it's on cooldown. The teleport is extremely late, and at first you think H2K, they can win this fight, but look at the positioning of Nuclear. He is way too close to that ward. The moment Che comes in, he's trying to protect his AD carry, but then he's also just asking to get killed himself. And Unicorns of Love, with the positioning of Samix in the front line of Xerxes, come out ahead in the fight in a dominant victory.
And it's just crazy to see how aggressive the Unicorns of Love are getting. When we look at this team, we look at the way their games trend. They're pretty even till the 20-minute mark so often. Then they explode. They start taking objectives everywhere. They start taking fights. They find massive leads in the mid game. But this time around, not even waiting for the mid game, not waiting for a few item power spikes. They're just looking to start fights whenever they get the chance.
And that is what Unicorns of Love are known for, just fighting. Now, obviously, as a team and as an organization, they've certainly developed. Their understanding of how to play around the map is exceptional and has improved dramatically, but they still hold true to that team fighting style, and you can never underestimate them in these fights.
Onoame moving forward. Quickness has been used. Nice sidestep. Turning back onto him. Oh, no.
That was sick. Hillesang. You madman. That was so good.
Oh,
the fight's
Weaver's
over.
wall. There's Samix on the side. Uses the Featherstorm. Going to get at least one snare. It's Featherman who's caught out. That's a bit of revenge for the Unicorns of Love. Line up at the Fate's Call, trying to take him to safety. Hillesang, now the man in trouble. Unicorns of Love only able to grab Odo in the end.
But they get themselves a kill. The question is, do they go for the Baron? It is spawning in 5 seconds' time. Yankos still alive. Exile very low. Are Unicorns of Love going to take the game?
Oh, they're absolute madmen. This is so risky. The Callista Spirit, not going to see them. There is no ward here in this pit. H2K, they're not sure. There's no way Unicorns could be doing this Baron, they tell themselves, but now they see it, and it may be too little too late. Yankos has been taunted up, he leaps in, but Xerxes going to get the smite. That is Baron, but it's Odo on the backside. He's trying to take down Exile. He may not have the damage, does get it in the end, is knocked up. That's the grand entrance, the battle dance, keeping the team happy, keeping the team healthy, and now Samix just continues to push forward, but surprise, it's Featherman in the brush. Taunt goes in goes Che, trying to buy a bit of time for the team. Nuclear still untouched. Featherman running for his life, the slow onto Vizichachi. He may make it out, but he is the only survivor.
And Unicorns of Love get everything. They get the Baron, they get the fight, and Featherman is going to die as well. The ace comes in for the Unicorns of Love, and ladies and gentlemen, it is very likely that we are going to a Game 3 between the 2 top teams in Group B.
And just insane how quickly this game has snowballed out of control in favor of the Unicorns of Love.
And bear in mind, like, coming into this Baron, Yankos, he didn't have his leap. The only option that he had was to try and get some kind of vision. Like, they did have the 2 wards over the side, but H2K wanted to try and go for the fight, but Unicorns with 5 members, and with Odo not having the most optimal flank, made it super easy for Samix to just get all this free damage down on the side and clean up the rest of the fight.
And Vizichachi may not have been our hero in game 1, but when you look back on that fight, look at the taunt. Right as Che lands the hook, right as he leaps in and lands a 3-man flay. Where is Featherman with the follow-up damage? Well, he's taunted, and he's auto-attacking a Shen, and he is not doing a single thing in that fight.
Unicorns of Love take away the first Baron from H2K as they try to set up a bit of a death brush.
And maybe looking to take the first game of the split from H2K as well.
We've got to return the favor, you know?
4-1, the game score for Unicorns of Love. 5-0 for H2K at the moment. Could turn Hillesang. Let's give the respect over. Samix has to be careful as well. Featherstorm up and available. Can use it if he needs to get out. Lots, a little bit of poke damage. Now
nice.
Pulls back.
Good dodge there from Samix, holding on to his ultimate until both the stun and the ultimate from Gragas came out.
And really have to look at it in the AD carry department once again. Last time Nuclear had the late game scaling as Twitch, but this time it's the Xayah with the late game scaling. Look at that itemization.
I feel like a lot of people underestimate how truly powerful Samix, or Xayah rather, is in the late game going for this full crit build. She really hits hard when she gets a bunch of feathers down. The fact that her E scales with crit means that she can really pack the punch just with her Feather Storm alone.
68 additional damage per feather from crit chance.
Yep.
It's not from the AD, it's not from anything else. It's not from the little unicorn sitting over Sheepy's head. And now Unicorns of Love, this is a massive lead. This is even bigger than what H2K got last game. 23 minutes, 11K gold lead.
And look at the difference too, right? As the wall comes in.
Trying to isolate the team. They just got their sights set on the tower. H2K throwing out a bit of poke damage. Hook not going to connect. Xerxes using the extra movement speed.
Really nice walls.
For the lead in, they're trying to take out Bevavin immediately. Oh, and then Nuclear is cut out of the back lines as well. Keeping the fight going. Xerxes may be in trouble though. He gets knocked under the tower. Odoamne trying to keep the team alive, but Simic does so much damage. Exile now trying to move in for a little bit more. Hylissang goes in for the Thresh kill. Battle dances his way out. Nobody can touch him, and the Unicorns of Love probably have this game in the bag. Just such a good fight.
The onslaught of the Unicorns continues as they pick up another 3 kills down onto H2K. And while the barrels have been phenomenal from Odoamne, it has just not been enough as another fight starts.
Hylissang gives his life, but what is it in exchange for? It looks like the life of Odoamne. Feather Collar not even needed as Samux goes godlike. And
the
Jankos
tower will go down. Jankos, the only man left alive. And this was just great setup because the wall goes down and now there's a tower unavailable. So Hylissang being the main engager, having the Shen ult follow up too with the Warwick, it's just such a difficult thing to be able to prevent. That kind of engage is so powerful, especially when you do not have your flash. It's just so strong. And Unicorns, like the big difference that we're seeing between the Unicorns and H2K is H2K, they take the 80% chance play. If it's an 80% chance of success, we'll take it. But until that point, we're going to be calm. We're going to be collected. Unicorns are just like, 50-50, let's go. Like, as long as we have a gold lead, we're more than happy to make it, right?
It's not
like,
a 50-50 though, Betty. It's when you have that gold lead.
But the point is, like, they are willing to take those fights. Whenever they see an opportunity, they have no hesitation. It's simply just a matter of, I see you, I kill you.
Invictus Gaming original strategy coming out here in the EU LCS. You can see the damage. It's all about Samux this time around. This is the Xayah and Rakan strategy that Unicorns of Love had prepared. This is what they wanted in game 1, but they weren't able to find it. But now they have it here in game 2, and it is just crushing the lineup of H2K.
Jankos' back is interrupted from the Titanic Hydra of Xerxes as he's clearing out a ward.
Is that one of your hashtag calculated moments?
That definitely was. Now, UOL, they've gone the bottom hip, they're going for the top.
Weaver's wall pulls it back. Chade's going to get face called out of the fight. H2K. These cooldowns, tower getting lower here. Have to be careful. Keep your eyes on the Shen. Keep your eyes on the Rakan. Where's the engage going to come from? Vizicachi pulled back into the team. Hylissang. Jankos on the backside. Maybe looking to keep the fight started. Odoamne loses this one off. With Feather Collar already used so much damage back, but Samux just does too much. Now going Legendary, the team is there to protect him, and he just cannot be touched. Xayah is out of control. Warwick is hunting down his prey, and the Unicorns of Love are just cleaning up H2K.
Such a clean fight from the Unicorns. Things look slightly promising, but it doesn't matter as Unicorns come back.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Unicorns of Love turn it on here in game 2, and they make it look all too easy as they tie up the series 1-1.
The GGs come out, and Unicorns repay the favor, resulting in H2K their first loss of the summer split.
5-1 to 5-1 in game score. 2-0 to 2-0 in series score. Someone has to walk away with the 2-1. Someone gets to walk away with the 3-0. Who is going to show up here in game 3? Will we have an even game through the early game, or will it be decided again by repeated fights and skirmishes?
Oh, such a fun series. Very, very fun. And the really fascinating thing is about this series, game 1 we saw Unicorns of Love get this bottom lane, do really well, but struggle to have an impact because of the Zac-Shen combo. Then when the Zac-Shen combo is removed and they still get Xayah and Rakan, we see them just absolutely obliterate the opposition. And I feel like this is a bottom lane that you cannot afford to give them. Like, bear in mind, H2K had the options to take it. They could have picked it for themselves because UOL went for the early Shen. But instead, they said, you know what, we have a plan. We have the Thresh, we have the Kalista. We're fine with this. We think we can do it. And still, they lost in the 2v2.
It was so rough. Well, the Unicorns of Love have answered back with a win, so let's send it over to Shox for the full story.
Well, Samok's birthday boy absolutely going off. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. What a performance on Xayah. And of course, that's easy to say in the end when he racks up all those kills. But let's kind of look at how we got here. And we spoke about the strategy going into game 2. You guys mentioned, well, hey, take the Zac off the table and then see how far you can go. And it looked like that was the exact answer.
Well, the first thing I don't understand is why H2K had a fine draft in game 1 and chose to go red side. And then they don't ban the Sarah Khan. Unicorn's first pick Shen, something they struggled against in the first game, so they first picked it, that makes sense. But then H2K picks the Thresh, which I get. Hülsang is going to Thresh, Chase going to Thresh, it's a meta pick. But then they don't pick the Xayah. So they don't disrupt the combo of Sarah Khan, then they pick it again, and then they get destroyed again.
Yeah.
So why don't you, like, if you lose first game, I mean, you win first game, but the only good thing for Unicorns the first game was Sarah Khan. So why don't you ban one of them or pick one of them when you had the opportunity or something like that, right?
Bad gamble.
And then Rakan and Samok and on Xayah and Rakan Hülsang carry the game alone. I mean, as two. As a duo, right? But why don't they ban one of those at least, or pick one of them? Thresh Xayah is a good duo queue. I mean, not duo queue, duo lane as well. So.
And I think that's where H2K maybe underestimated the difficult situation they put Exile in game 1 that you talked about. What do you pick into Zac? Well, that choice wasn't so prevalent this time because suddenly he gets a Talia pick. He can play most things into Syndra, and as long as he doesn't play too aggressively, should be okay. And that's the problem is H2K, although the first couple of fights go in their favor, they never got the lead that they did in game number 1, and Unicorns were able to teamfight to turn it back around.
Yeah, let's take a look at this first replay because H2K do get, I don't know if they get a gift here or who misplays what, Sven.
Well, H2K made a lane swap happen. I think that's a good choice by them. They want lane swap after level 6 because they're losing lane after level 6, so they make a lane swap here. There are 2 people doing top lane, Thomas bot lane, so this is a good fight for H2K to take here. They should win this fight. Although it's a very long, drawn fight that they almost end up losing. They get the first blood and they survive, all of them. Despite Exile is like int here.
And then they go back in.
Yeah, this happens, but Exile didn't play very well early game. He almost had the gank from Che. That was over 2 wards. But he was much better on Talia than on Victor at least, so there's that going for him. But I think H2K's lane swap was very smart by them because I think Thresh Kalista loses lane after level 6 to Sarah Khan. So lane swapping to try to like make this like surprise play on Shen lane was very smart, but it didn't really turn out as they wanted it to turn out. I think they wanted to get like a kill top lane and then just get the Herald. Trade towers against Shen is very good, but it didn't really turn out that way.
And at least for the gold lead, it was kind of fortunate that Unicorn sent Samux back down to the bottom lane, got the tower first blood for themselves, because I think with the 2 kills going over to H2K, it started looking like game 1, and you thought, oh no, Vizicachi and Exile are getting outplayed in team fights again. And from there, you're like, okay, H2K, they do have a decent team fight setup, but the fact that Samux maintained relevance in the game is exactly what kept them in.
Yeah, and let's kind of see how did Unicorns of Love stay in the game when we have one fight that kind of shows that it could go either way.
Yeah, and here's where you see the power, the engage. Look at how far that comes from. The charm lands easily on to Nuclear to start this off. And this is a very back and forth fight between both teams. And there's nice little mechanical things that, like, ulting Xerxes when he's still got tower aggro to make sure you get that kill is enough to take him out. And Vedius talked a lot about the roaming Featherman coming up here, but from there, Unicorns just are so far ahead.
Yeah, so even though Featherman was winning his lane and he was there first, Exile is playing a champion like Talia that has the roam power of the ultimate, so he was there almost same time as Featherman, despite being down 40 season lane and almost dying to a gank level 3. So it makes sense to put him on the Talia rather than like a slow champion like Victor that can't really move anywhere. So I think that was a good pick by Unicorns. Yeah,
the mobility seemed to have changed a lot for Unicorns as they could react to everything that HK was doing quicker. And then comes the moment of the full 5v5 team fights. We know historically Unicorns of Love has always been good at that, but Rakan is just so destructive.
Yeah, this champion, the engage potential from it, like Exile trades so much of his health, and you think, okay, one carries out of this fight, but suddenly between Samux and Hylissang, you can take up so much time from H2K that it doesn't really matter the fact they don't have a mid laner for the majority of this fight. Jankos is already low. Nuclear puts himself right on top of where that TP is completing, and suddenly double knockup into all of the block damage from Shen means it's
Samux is just even in melee range, and he can just hit everyone.
Yeah,
so
I think it's kind of
nice.
like a UL special where they just go mid and group as 5 people and then they just fight there, and then something good always happens. And I think even though they traded Featherman for Exile, it's worth it for the Unicorns because Exile doesn't have the same impact in this game as Featherman did for his team, and Samux is much stronger than Nuclear after level 6 basically. So the late game critical strike build is much better than the player ranking. Kalista scaling is not very good. I think Thresh Kalista is more like a discount Saya Rakan at this point. There's worse after level 6. The lane phase is good. I actually saw they could roam into mid lane early game, but once you go past level 6 and one item, Saya Rakan is much better. The engage is reliable, the DPS is higher.
I didn't have a good point at all. I had a joke and I just interrupted you. God.
Well, now you've got to say the joke.
I was just going to say Ekils and Thresh are not in love, but that's...
How do you know that?
Yeah, actually, how do I know that? How dare I speak about people's personal lives like that? Looking ahead to Game 3, so we now have one each way. We had a very convincing game from H2K in Game 1. They left the Xayah and the Rakan open and didn't do anything. Then Game 2, Unicorns of Love take over the game completely, and the Unicorns have chosen blue side for the deciding game. So what are they looking to go here?
I think the biggest thing I'm wondering is why H2K chose red side. I don't understand like what they were aiming to get on red side, but regardless, Unicorns chose blue side. That makes sense. I think H2K will now adapt, and they will hopefully, for them, ban Xayah or Rakan or...
Which one? If you only could ban one.
We have seen people like Rakat pick Kalista with the Rakan, which worked well.
Yeah.
So they could do something like that, for example, like or pick Thresh Xayah. You can choose, or just ban like the sack, ban the Xayah, and then the combo is gone, and you can play a normal game again. Maybe ban Shen, because Shen seems to be a thing that both teams struggle against. I know how it feels, so that's fine. I think ban at least one of them, the Poland champions. Sarah can't ban one.
Ban one of them at least.
It doesn't work.
And the Zac.
And the Zac.
Because if H2K can get Zac plus Xayah or something like that, and you pick up Shen first, that's like, oops.
Yeah, and you guys are still both, actually, for predictions, I think you said 2-0, right?
I said 2-1.
2-1, sorry, I don't
It's all right, Sven said that it could be 2-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, but it was a Unicorns of Love win for you guys, so we'll see what happens. In any case, it's a very exciting series. The Unicorns of Love and H2K, they're in a close fight. Who will come out on top and take a crucial victory? The deciding game is right around the corner.
What is that?